Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me, Alex Arch, author of The Stars Within. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So I have questions for you because I read the book, Your Stars Within, and immediately after I read it, I knew I needed to reread it. And I wish I had the time because I would have right then and there. So I've got some questions for you.
I'll be happy to answer.
Brilliant. So let's start with going back a little bit in time. When did you start reading, and maybe what was one of the books that sparked your interest in it?
Well, I started reading pretty young. At first, if anyone can notice, I'm French Canadian, so I have a bit of an accent. I started reading in French. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I can't really remember the author of the first book I read, but it was vampires in a school. It was quite cool. It was for elementary school,
Oh,
and I really loved it. And then I read mostly games, video games, like that
hmm.
back then, way back when. There were
Yeah.
no voice acting, so we had to read all the text and all the lore, and that's when I started to read in English really. And if there was a book that got me into reading, and I didn't expect it at all because it was a school assignment, it was Flowers for Algernon. I don't know if you know that
Oh,
book.
yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do. That
I
one
really
has been
loved
on
it.
my list.
It's awesome. I didn't expect to like it so much, and I really appreciated it that my teacher made me read it because I wouldn't have read it otherwise. And it was in English because it was for my English class,
Okay.
and it sparked so many questions, a bit like the Stars Within. Actually, it's like the well, it's not the same. It's not a science fiction or anything. It's not
Hmm.
fantasy, which are usually the only genres I read. But I really, really, really loved it.
That's awesome. But it's from what I've heard, it's quite impactful. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's
same
the
line.
questions it raises about intelligence and our gifts, and our gift. It's like a guy with a mentally challenged,
Yeah,
and he gets more intelligence toward the books, and he starts noticing stuff, and it's really I really loved it.
fantastic. That's one of those books that I've been meaning to read. It's on your TBR, you're planning to read it for some time, and then you're like, "I'm not quite ready to have that experience yet."
I,
Yeah.
I think you should read it. It's really
Yeah?
it's really good. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
It's a
gonna
bit
have to.
sad though.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is you have to kind of be in a
Yeah, you
good
have to be in the
place.
mood.
Yeah. So in contrast to that, what are some of your favorite books that you're reading today?
Well, the in the published scene, the more traditionally published, I read The Warded Man recently, which I really
Okay.
loved.
Yeah.
It's Peter V. Brett, I think, the author. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. And right now, since I joined the Oasis, I'm more into the indie scene. Well, I didn't know it even existed, and I started reading more indie. And I really love Voice of War
Mm.
by Zach Argyle.
Yes.
I listened to it. It was the first audiobook I ever listened to, and I really loved it. I like the magic system a lot. And there's also Obsidian by Sienna Frost.
Yes.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you know about it. It's really great. I love her writing style. Her voice is pretty unique.
Is it the author who narrates it too for Obsidian?
Well, this one I didn't listen
Oh.
in audiobook format. I don't know if it's available in
Oh,
audiobook.
okay. Okay.
I read it in ebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen it around, but I haven't picked it up yet. But the Threadlight trilogy, that's one of my favorite and an excellent choice for audiobook with Adam Gold.
Yeah, yeah, I really love the
Yeah.
narrator, and I heard that Stones of Light is really good.
Yes.
So I can't wait to dive into that one too. But it's like you said, your TBR is always like growing and growing. So
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm gonna have time for this.
Yeah, get buried under the pile of books from all everything we have on our
Yeah.
TBR. Yeah, so those are great. What I'll do for anyone watching, if you want to know more about those books, I'll link them down in the description after the interview here. But yeah.
I don't read much paperback, but I heard that Sienna Frost's Obsidian is really, really beautiful. She's got all these images on every pages.
Oh
I read an
wow.
ebook, so I don't know. So, but she's got some every chapter. Well, not every pages, but every chapter at the beginning, there's images and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, she went in all in with the art for that.
Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
finished, but I'm in the middle of the audiobook of Wistful Ascending. It's really good too.
Yes.
So I think it's new. It's
I I won't spoil anything. It's up here. But yes. Fantastic. Yeah, I recently read that too. It was really good. I'm going to be reading the second book soon too.
oh yeah, I'm in the middle about of the first one.
Okay. Okay. So far you're liking it?
Yes,
Asking for
yes,
a
I really
friend?
love it. Well, not I'm not in the middle of the second book. I'm in the middle of the first one.
Yes,
Sorry
yeah.
about that. But
No, no, no.
yeah, it's really great. I love Rowan's banter. I really love how
Yeah.
how funny he is.
Yeah. Yeah, JCM Byrne is the author for, Wistful Ascending there, but he did a great job with the humor in that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's something I wish I could do. Be humorous in my writing. I don't think I can. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
able.
I mean, I find it hard to be funny in real life, so I can't imagine writing someone else to be funny. And so with your book, The Stars Within, like we were talking about, it's quite an impactful read. Can you talk about what the driving force, what was the driving force behind you deciding you wanted to write a book?
Yeah, at first I started writing because before I was a firefighter, I was in a call center,
Mm,
and I started writing like to pass the time between calls because I worked night shift and I wanted to keep my head focused.
yeah.
And I started writing for fun, but it quickly became like so important, became mandatory to me
Mm,
because like in real life I don't really express my feelings and stuff, and it became like cathartic for me more. I needed to express myself. I need to put words into my feelings into words, my thoughts. It helps me center myself. So I really need to write right now. It's not for fun anymore. It's like it's a way to express myself and find myself in these in every situation and what I'm going through. You know.
yeah. That's just I would find that hard. Do you find that easy or hard to express yourself in written form?
Well, I find it easier than in speech. You know,
Okay.
as
Yeah.
you might know, my mother died 8 years ago, and
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
I remember my wife telling me like, hey, "You're not. You seem like you're not feeling anything about it." And you know what?
Oh,
I
wow.
did. I did. Just kept it inside. So instead, I just like I write it. I didn't know I needed to write it, but I know I needed to get these things out of me. So I
Yeah.
express myself in writing, and that's how I managed to do it.
Wonderfully said. Yeah. It definitely comes across. So, yeah, it's an experience.
Thanks.
Yeah. Um, in that note as well, there are, you know, there's a lot of emotion in that book. The relationships and the topics that you cover. Can you talk about your experience writing that? Did you find it to be um, tricky to get just right for someone else to read, right? Because there's probably a difference there with just writing to get your emotions out, but then making it readable and making it an experience for someone else.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I got it just right. I hope I did.
I'd say
But
you did.
thanks. But yeah, it certainly comes from the heart, you know, because it's really it's all kinds of experiences. It's all real. The emotions are real. The situations are real because we all go. With my family, we went through this all. You know, well, on Thomas' side, because Thomas is the one who has the cancer,
Mhm.
and it's all things that we went through. So it's all things that I had to put, and I didn't find it hard to put into words because I was living through them.
Mm.
I just didn't. I might not have known, but I was going through them, and it helped me. It helped me centered and focus and say, oh, okay, that's what's going on,
Yeah.
So it was kind of easy actually to write the Thomas side, and call it is more like my pragmatic side. So
Right.
so it's kind of me in the duality of it all. And when someone close to you dies, you start to ask yourself a lot of questions. You start about your place in the world and so forth. Gets sick when someone gets super sick next to you start asking yourself about the time you spend on Earth and what you want to do with it, and what's your place and all this. So it was kind of easier to put it out there, and just it helped me actually. So it was easy for me to write. Of course, there were some harder parts though to
Right.
get right, like the message I wanted to get across, like with the ending and everything. That was
Mm.
a bit harder to get on paper and get just right without spoiling anything and leaving a trail of clues,
Yeah.
and at the end make sure everybody understood.
Yeah. I mean, we talked after I read the book, because I had so many questions, and I think that's why this book is. You can sit down, read it, and immediately reread it again because you leave hints. And I mean, for myself, those hints went over my head, and then that ending, and I was like, no, 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 I need to go back. I need to reread this. Um, and yeah, so hold on, Bo here. From what I've heard, you nailed the ending. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So
thank you.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, we worked hard on it with the publisher, and
Mm.
it wasn't always like that clear. At first it was a little bit harder to understand, but I worked with better readers, and with my publisher we worked through it, and they've been really respectful to the integrity of my work, of what I wanted to create. And that's really that was really great,
That's yeah,
because frankly, it was the only thing I was adamant about, the ending. Like, if you
yeah.
change the ending, it changed the meaning of the book. So I wasn't sure I was gonna be willing to change it actually.
Yeah, because it sounds like you had a goal when you said, "Yeah, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna write this, but this has to mean something," and you
Yeah,
didn't want that taken away.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Whenever I write it, it has to mean something to me. It exactly. It's not just a story. There's a message. There's themes, and I want to share that.
No, that makes the read all the more, it makes it meaningful, but it also makes it gripping, right? Because I know for myself when I'm reading something, I wanna be pulled into the book, and I don't want the book to let me go until the pages are done, right? And I feel like this did it well.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, and I try to create that with the writing. The ending. The more it goes, the faster the book goes, right? So that
Yeah,
like, a bit to create a sense of urgency
yeah.
with the short chapters.
Well, that and this isn't like a super big book. It's 177 pages, I think it
Yeah.
is. So you could, if you've got a Saturday or Sunday to yourself, sit down, read this in one sitting, and then go back and reread it.
Yeah, I heard people like read it in 4 hours or something. The fastest I heard. For
Yeah.
That's easy on a Sunday.
Yeah.
8 hours to read it twice.
Exactly. There you go. You got your full day scheduled. Get some drinks and some blankets in there. Um, so we talked about for you, it's the most important thing to get the message out. And what kind of experience did you want the reader to walk away with? Because you're focused on getting the message out, but do you want the reader to walk away shocked, m- wanting to pick it back up again?
Well, there's no particular concept I wanted the reader to walk away with.
Mm.
Obviously, after you read it, you know that like the environment is pretty important to me, and I think we could do better as a species for what we are. But I didn't want to sound moralizing. I didn't want to be like the
Mm.
author who says you can't do that, or don't buy too much stuff, or capitalism is bad or something.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all just trying to survive, and I think that's what my characters do. Collect is just trying to survive, and they're trying to survive in this space, chased by aliens, but to do to do it, they have to destroy planets to have their fuel and get out of there. So it's kind of the what we're living through,
Mhm.
us too, because we're all doing our best here, and we all to have like some commodity, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's good.
And we all want to eat well, to be comfortable. We all want our children to have fun, but we also want them to have a planet.
Mhm.
So what I wanted the people to get out of this is more ask themselves some questions
Mhm.
about what's important for them, how they want to do it, and what's the relationship or our relationship as humans with our planet, with our environment. How can we do better?
Mhm.
What's better for you might not be something good for another one. So I didn't want to pinpoint a particular thing. I just wanted to ask questions about this.
No, and I think it's an important question. I mean, it's easy to get lost in, okay, well, I'm going to go and have that beaver tail, but I'm not going to think about what's happening on in the background, right? But then, like you need to think about the future because there's the planet will keep going after we're gone. So it's all excellent questions, and it's easy to forget, right? Because life is busy.
Yes,
So
yes, exactly.
it yeah. So it's hard. It's a hard balance, but yeah, I definitely think you got that message across.
There's someone who
Oh,
because we're both Canadian, so that's why
yes.
it's beaver tail.
It's code, Andrew, for a delicious pastry covered in cinnamon sugar. We have little
But
stands of them here.
and at the same time, I didn't want to be like, you should think about this every day, and you should not do anything because you're too worried. I just wanted to create discussion, if you want, about this.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think it does it well because it's a short story in a way, right? It happens quick when you're reading it. I mean, I'm still thinking about it, but it's not one of those things that left me in like an existential crisis. It didn't cross that line, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to create that. I just wanted to create a question, and and get my emotions across about with my mother, and,
Mm,
and yeah, that I that's why I had to keep it short too, because
mm,
I didn't want it to become too long and then drag it and then be like, because it's also the structure and the
mhm.
ending are particular, if you want.
Yeah.
And I didn't think like it could last for 300 or 400 page going.
Yeah, right. So you wanted to keep it a little shorter um for sake of the structure of the story, but also so you didn't lose readers.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to do because there's so much crammed in there, but I
Yeah.
had to condense it in a way. I had to
I'm
find a way, and that's what I did.
Well, I think it works. I mean, if I think back, I never thought that it needed to be longer. I think you got the pacing right. I think you got the length of it right for the message you were trying to convey. I think and I mean, it is one of those books where you can sneak it in between those chunkier ones, right? So it works on multiple levels.
Yeah, I was glad when you said you would read it.
Yeah. It worked perfectly. I needed something, like I said, something between some of the bigger books, but it is fast-paced, so it was hard to put down as well. Um, just switching gears here. So you're French Canadian. We're next door
Yeah.
neighbors in a way. Um, how was it like for you with French being your first language, writing an English novel?
Well, actually, since I've read in English almost all my life, I think I
Mm.
was more suited to write in English than I would have been in French. I think I would have made more mistakes in
Oh,
French.
really?
Well, I would have never written the book in French. I don't know why. It just felt more natural to me to write in English.
Yeah.
The only thing I think is is really harder for me is that it takes a longer time, because sometimes I know there's a
Mm.
better word to say something, and or I know I'm using a French expression, so I have to go
Yeah.
look on the internet and like, oh, that's not what I want to say exactly, because writing is about saying exactly what you want in the less, in the more impactful words.
Hmm.
So that's what makes it a bit longer for me. But
Yeah.
actually, I think it was just that longer to write, not
Right.
actually harder for me.
Okay. So you
And
just had a few extra steps.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And since I know it's a sci-fi, but it's also a soft sci-fi. It's not on the hard side. Like I don't lean too hard science and all the jargon that comes with it. And those I use, it's more like I've watched so many shows or read so many books, sci-fi books, that I kind of know it instinctually.
Okay. I see. I find that to me that's fascinating. So for those who don't know, I studied French for a few years. I struggle with it. I don't use it, and I had to write a paper about our solar system in college, and I found the terminology in a different language so tricky. So for me, it was when I found out your native language was French. I was like, that's incredible. Because the terminologies are so different and they're very specific, very complicated words sometimes that you need to make sure you're getting right.
Oh, well, maybe I don't know, because us, when the French Canadians, when we the English shows and books are so like prevalent in our society. We learn
Okay.
we learn English from when we're young, we're youngsters,
Oh,
and
interesting.
we're able to watch TV in English. I don't even remember when I started watching TV in English. So
Okay.
I might have been like 10, maybe 8. So
Yeah.
for me, it comes naturally. And when I speak, I know I have a strong accent, but it's like I'm
No.
shy and I'm stressed with my words. So it comes out with the accent. But when I'm writing, I have all the time in the world to know to say exactly what I want. And usually I
True.
know, like, when I sometimes I think very tired, and it's like I know there's a better word for this. So
Yeah.
I can't get it out, but I just know there's a better word for it. So I go look for it on the internet, and then I start searching for what exactly I want to say.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that would make sense. See, I like again, people might not know half my family is French. I grew up with it, but I grew up with the French TV too. Nothing ever stuck. I was I was like everything went over my head. But that is it's nice that you have that ability to be able to write in English, to be able to research those words. And I mean, don't worry about speaking off the cuff because you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. It's just Beau just said I look like Georges Saint Pierre when I speak.
Oh,
I hope I'm a better actor.
oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, Bo, I see you there. Don't feel bad, okay? I grew up only speaking English. I'm still bad at it. Yeah, I know how you feel, Bo. Um, yeah, so it just takes you longer, but like I said, I wouldn't have known at all from reading the book. Um,
Oh,
and
that's great. That's great to
yeah,
hear.
along those lines, what was your writing process like? So you had to research a few things, but did you like say, I'm sitting down for 3 hours or I'm just writing when I can?
Uh, well, I'm a firefighter, so sometimes I have like a few days off in the week, and the children are at school, and so I'm at home, and I have a few bits of time while they're at school, and I take that time to write. I sit down, make myself a coffee, and I just start to tap away on the computer. So it allows me, because sometimes when you're alone in the week at home, time can get long. So it's that. When I first started, it was I'm in the call center I worked for before,
Hmm.
so it was in my free time I started to write like this.
Okay. That works out really nice for you then. Yeah. You've got good chunks of
Yeah.
time. You can focus. We have another comment about Ashton Kutcher as well.
Well, that's nice. Thank you. I'll take it as a compliment, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. Lana, here, do you have an example of a French saying that you had to Google and adjust to get your point across?
Okay, a precise example of my French.
I
Uh,
guess when you were writing, so or something that you were trying to get across in English that you were having a hard time getting from French.
oh well, mostly it's like expressions. I don't have a particular example, but sometimes I will write or let's say like I will write a word in French. I will just like sometimes it's so obvious in my mind that I will say the word with an English accent because there are words that are similar, like a plan, it's a plan in French.
Right.
So there are words that are like this that I will just write in French, and like the Windows makes the mistake because it's not it doesn't English
Yes.
it doesn't exist in English. So these kind of words I have to like, oh my god, like I have to Google it, or sometimes I use an expression that's more French and it doesn't apply in English. So
Yeah.
but usually I realize it, like I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel right, and
Okay.
then I have to Google like if it exists. And sometimes I want to say, because it's easy for me to, I can write in French and translate in English afterwards. Like
Right.
if I'm not sure how I want to say something, I'm gonna say it in my head in French and try to write it. And then when I write it, sometimes there are things that doesn't sit right with the scene, that doesn't exactly what, and these expressions, I need to Google them.
Oh, okay. Is do you know if there's one offhand? I know you and I were talking before about how some things don't translate well. So I'm just curious if there's one that comes to mind at all.
Oh, no, I don't have one
No?
right now.
Okay.
Like, oh, there's one. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Like you said, they like closing the lights instead
that's
of
true.
turning them off.
We were also talking about one beforehand where in French they say if you do a literal translation, it doesn't make any sense, but they say like ça marche pas, like it's not
Yeah,
working. But when you translate it literally, it means it's not walking, right? Those kind of things don't make sense.
exactly. So instead of functioning, it's walking. There's something like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you could say ça fonctionne pas,
yeah,
but
it works, but we
it
say ça marche pas.
ça marche pas. Oui. Yeah, that one will forever get me. Lana, you're all good. She says sorry for putting you on the spot.
Oh,
Um,
there's no problem. If I think of one, I'll share it with you. I know it happened like recently in the book I'm writing right now, so I just can't think of it right now. But I know I had an expression that I wrote, and I had to. There's a site for it, that for expressions, and it helped me like say,
okay.
oh, it doesn't work at all.
Oh, interesting. They actually have a website for those, the metaphors and expressions.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't even find them.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I guess there's some things that just don't translate at all. Um, so on along the we'll talk about your future stuff in a little bit, but in the meantime, can we talk a little bit about your publishing journey?
Yeah, well, it was really great. I didn't expect the Stars Within to be picked up because it's so unconventional. It's so like it's got this weird structure, and the ending is kind of is particular. So I actually didn't expect it, but I sent queries and I tried to find a publisher. Because of the length, it was a little bit harder too.
Mm,
I couldn't find the agents, so I had to query publishers straight. And like I said earlier, the ending was really important to me, so I was kind of afraid that if I had a publisher, they would change it.
right.
Luckily, Champagne Books, which is my publisher, and Jody was my editor, and when she sent me the correction, I was really glad that she didn't she wanted to keep the ending the way it was. And I'm really grateful to them. Really, they've been super welcoming and super encouraging. I really couldn't have asked for better. They have a mentorship for a program. Is that
Oh,
I'm an
wow.
unknown author, so I was really glad for all their help. And like you saw earlier, like I just posted on Twitter, and they asked me to do a flash sale.
Yep.
So, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. So they support me in that way, and I think it's really great. And I always say that I'm super grateful to them because I've published a book and it talks about my mom. Obviously, it's not the story of my mom because she never went to space,
Yeah.
but but it's really like I have a dedication at the beginning of the book to her, and it's out there and people can read it. So to me,
Mm,
that is worth more than anything. You know, I wrote a
mm.
book and she's part of it. So I was really it was really a smooth process, and I will forever be grateful for them to
Yeah.
them.
Well, that's fantastic. And that sale that you mentioned, there's a link in the description for that. They saw we were doing this, and they're like, that book is going on sale for for a few days.
Yeah,
So if you want to try it
yeah, it
out,
was great.
there's yeah, definitely take a look at the link there. But that's fantastic to hear that you're because this is your debut as well, right?
Yeah.
So your first book, they've been super supportive, super helpful. That must have been such a joy for you.
Oh yeah. When
Yeah.
when I first received the email that was they were gonna publish it, I was really happy. I didn't even believe it at first. I was like, there must be something because
Yeah.
anybody any author out there who can tell you how hard it is to get published
Yeah.
to get your book seen. And I'm a French Canadian, so I wasn't certain before, and I thought like, oh, it's not that bad what I write. So, and
Yeah.
you know, being published was really, it was incredible for me.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Um, that's what you want when you do this, right? You want the support, you want the help, you want the positivity. Um,
Yeah.
any tips for aspiring authors? Something you might
Oh,
have learned this time around that you'd like to share?
well, what I'd like to say to aspiring authors is never give up. I think
Mm,
that's like tenacity is the most important quality an author can be, because
yeah.
you need to, at first you start to query and you receive no's and everywhere, like every door closes on you, and it's really hard to get rejected. But if you keep going at it, and if you continue writing and continue trying, someday you're gonna find somebody. And even when you're published, like Champagne Book is a small publisher, so I have to do marketing, but you seem like you're screaming into the void because your
Mm,
competition are they are behemoth. Yeah, you're still competitioning with Lord of the Rings, because there are, like we said earlier, the to be read of people is you're competitioning for the time of people. You're not for the wallet. Like you said,
mm.
you read my book because you had time in between,
Yeah.
and that was great. But people have so many books to read and so little time, it's hard. So you have to never give up, and you have to keep trying, and that's the only way you're ever going to get seen.
Yeah. Well, that's well said because it's true. It's hard, and especially with like you say, Lord of the Rings. Well, they keep coming out with editions and letters and journals, even so they're adding to it over the years. New
Yeah,
artwork.
and it's like it's timeless. The books are timeless. There's
Yeah.
always new authors. There's the whole books too. So it's really, that's why I kind of like being in the oasis and finding all those new books to read, and giving them a
Mm.
chance, because there are gems. There are gems in there.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. So in that same category, your friends, your family, when you said, "I wrote a thing, I'm gonna give it to someone, and they're gonna put it out in the world," how did they react?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because they didn't believe me at first,
Oh,
because I kind of kept it a secret. Like everybody, nobody knew I was writing a book before I got published, except my wife. She
right.
was my alpha reader, and she's the best because she's ruthless. So when something's bad, she's gonna tell me like, "Oh, that doesn't work. It's really bad," and then I have to change it. So, but aside from her, I never told anyone. So when I signed, I think it was last December, I signed my contract with Champagne Books, and I was like, "Oh my god." I'm gonna have to say it to tell people, and I was really shy because it's out of character for me a bit being a writer. No, I'm a
Mm,
sports guy, and I so like I do mountain biking, I play hockey, I do all sort of sports, and it was kind of I was shy, but when I told them at first, they didn't believe me, and then I had to tell them, no, it's not a joke. It's true.
Yeah.
And they've been very supportive. My dad is actually super sweet. He told all his friends I wrote a book. He's super proud. I was super
Yeah.
glad. I really love
Oh,
it.
that's awesome. That's probably one of the best reactions you can get is like, really?
Yes,
Okay.
they couldn't believe it, but they're so proud at the same time. Really,
Yeah,
they were like my friends, but my book, my family, but my book, and I think it's really cool.
that's awesome. Lana here, she says, "Ruthless is good. Hard at times, but best in the end." Absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask for less from her.
Yeah.
I love
Uh,
when my beta readers are destroying what I wrote, because that means it's just gonna get better afterwards.
yeah, yeah. See, I can definitely appreciate what they do because I don't know if I'd have the heart to pinpoint every little thing. Like I'm also the type of person when I go into a book, I'm going in it because I want to focus on like the thing I want to focus on enjoyment. I want to enjoy it. I want to have a good time. Of course, there are things that don't work for me, but I feel like if working with an author, I'd feel brutal if I did that. Like, well, this. But it's important. Um, so you kind of mentioned here, you have a few hobbies. You're a firefighter. Can you talk a little bit about what you do outside of writing and reading?
Well, like I said, I do a lot of sports. I jog a lot. I do mountain biking. I really love that sport. I think it's really fun because you get to spend time outside in nature and you see the trails. I tried like city biking. I didn't like it at first, so and I really prefer to be. I have a forest right behind my house and with trails. So
Nice.
I just take my bike and there's like 20 kilometers outside. And like you said, like every good Canadian, I play hockey.
Yes, absolutely. It's mandatory.
Yeah, we have to. So I still play with my friends, like once or twice a week, depending on the week. And I also play guitar. I used to be in a
Nice.
band.
Oh, can we know this band's name?
Oh my god, I don't think you'll find anything about it,
No.
but it was Art as Hell. It was a rock band.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And yeah, we gave up after a while.
Oh,
We all had childrens and other. And
life
I still
happens.
play, but I never sing. I know
Okay.
Bo's watching, and he said on my Twitter that like I was in a boy band, and I said, no, 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 you don't want that. I can't sing for the life of me.
That's okay. Pick up the guitar. Someone else will sing.
Yeah,
If someone else will join in. And Quebec too, like I don't know if anyone knows, but Quebec has beautiful views, mountainsides, trails like you were talking about.
oh
Even
yeah,
for where I am in Ontario, it's the go-to place for scenery because it is absolutely stunning. So I can't imagine the views you get with the biking.
yeah. We have all sorts of view too, because we have like the summer. The views are different in the summer, and the views are different in the winter.
Yeah.
So I should start fat biking soon, like with the thick the thick
Tires there,
tire,
is
tires.
it? Yeah,
Exactly. Sorry, I was looking for a word. So
that's
easy.
okay. It's the simplest ones that get us. Bo here has a comment too saying, "You're gonna record an album."
I'm only guitar playing, maybe guitar if I learn how to do it.
Okay, nice. So I mean that's a wide range of interests there. Music, sports, and the firefighting too. I know that's a job, but I know for some people that's a passion and it's a hard
It
job.
is.
So
It is.
yeah, thank you for what you do for your community.
Oh, well, thank you.
Um, so a few people commented, I feel like it's time we should probably bring it up. Can you talk about your future writing plans?
Well, I have a fantasy in the work. I think it's really well. Of course, I love it. It's my book, but it's got a cool magic systems that reinforces its themes. I invented a new magic system where people can like manipulate energy, and it's kind of a bit like the stars within. The themes are resource scarcity, and also there it's about freedom of choice and hope a bit. So the mages have to use another person to cast their spell, and it
Okay.
drains them, so they strip them of their choices while they use their magic, and you ultimately it will kill the person if they continue doing it.
Okay.
So yeah, I work with that, and I, I try to create a kind of a cool world with it. Usually I write more fantasy. The Stars Within was like a little it was a project. It had to be
Okay.
science fiction. You understand why
Yes.
I cannot say it, but it really needed to be in space.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to fantasy for the next book. It's called The Source of Strife, and the first draft is done.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
exciting.
it's currently in the ends of beta reader GCM Burn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yes,
got to talk to
yeah,
him.
because the magic system is about energy, and he's like he had some background in physics, so I needed his input on the magic system
Oh,
because
interesting.
I did a lot of research because I'm not a physicist, so that the writing is cool for that. I learned a lot of new stuff.
Huh. Hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I wouldn't think that when you're writing a fantasy you'd have to look up some physics. For
Yeah, me neither, but here I am, like my Google is full of physics research.
Yeah. And because you just from the context of how you described the magic system working, would you say this is more of a grimdark fantasy or just like still in the fantasy itself?
No, I would say it's more of a fantasy. It's
Okay.
not grim dark.
Okay.
Maybe some of the
Yeah.
themes are darker, but the overarch the arch is the arc of the characters is more towards hope.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's nothing too dark.
Yeah. I like double checking because I read both and both have completely different impacts.
Yeah, for sure.
So well, that's really exciting. I also want to, because I want to ask, and you mentioned that you wrote fantasy primarily before,
Yeah.
and then you did the sci-fi with the stars within. Any stories that you had previously written that you might like to revise or come back to and publish later?
I would love to.
Okay.
I've got I've got one book. But like I said earlier, from if I never got published, I don't
Mm,
think I would have self-published, be simply because I'm a
okay.
French, so my French background, and I wasn't sure enough. I wasn't like confident enough to put it out there.
Mhm.
Now that I know that my writing is well enough and can be liked by somebody. Like I tried to get
Yeah.
agents with the first book, but it is super hard. So it ended up being shelved. But
Mm.
maybe I would go back to it. I've got another fantasy project. Well, I've got a few projects that I'm started working on. I've got like I wanted to try my hand at the middle grade story. We've
Okay.
had talks on the Oasis or India Accord. I don't remember which one about maybe doing a short story collection. So I wanted
Oh, nice.
to start writing a short story. I had a great idea for a short story actually that I will write no matter what, and I don't know where it's gonna lead about the with the people on the Discord channel, but if it can lead somewhere, I would like to write it right now because I've got the idea and the structure of the story is all set up. So yeah, I've got a few things in the work.
Well, that is all very exciting. On that note, where can people find you, follow you to keep updated with these new works?
Well, I've got my Facebook page, which is Alex Arch Author. There's the site from Champagne Books, and I've got my own site that I will send to you, and I'm more active on Twitter mostly.
Okay, yes. So I'll have those links down below in the description for everyone. And we have a question here. Since you like writing and music, have you ever tried writing songs?
Yes, I did actually. Yeah, when I was in my band, we had a few songs recorded. I don't think you can find them anywhere though.
Oh, well. That's just teasing then.
Yes, that's actually where I started writing. It's true. I wrote my first song. I think I wrote like 4 or 5 songs for my band. That's where I started.
Oh, nice. That's pretty. I find that impressive. I suck at writing anything, so for me, that's very impressive. I've studied music for years, and I couldn't write a song to save my life. Bo here has a comment as well saying, "Drop that short story in a monthly newsletter."
Oh yeah. That's a great idea. I saw the one Zakargal sent the true is what true is, and I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
And I'm just going to open it up. If anyone has any final questions, feel free to put them in the chat now. But yeah, that short story from Zach, that was a
I didn't
nice
read it
surprise.
yet. I heard it was really good. Uh, I saw some people really liked it.
I read it. I did like it. I haven't commented it on it anywhere yet, but yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah, and so I'm going to follow up with a question then. How long did you say you played guitar for?
Well, I still do play guitar
Yeah.
for about well, right now uh, it's going to be between my age. It's about 20 years. About 20 years.
Okay, that's pretty good. So what you're
Well,
saying is we
I'm
can.
not the best because I don't have much time to practice it. I can play, but like I'm not the best out there. But I can rip out a few solos here and there.
Hey, that's impressive. You're too busy writing.
Yeah, exactly. Really, it takes a lot of time writing, so it takes up a lot of my time. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, oh, here we go. We have a question from from Joseph Byrne. So you were born with a guitar in your hands because you don't look much older than 20.
That's really kind, but I'm pretty old. I don't like to say if I take the cap off, there's a lot of white hair underneath. So
Strategic Canadian planning. Keep the cap on at all times except supper.
yep.
And Lana here, do you have some clips of your mountain biking? If so, can you share on Twitter?
Oh, I would love to. I don't think I have some yet. I will try to. I will try to get some.
That would be really nice with all the fall leaves this time of year. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, for answering all of my questions. Everyone's questions in the chat. Just a reminder, there's a flash sale for The Stars Within happening right now. So go check that out. It's 99 cents, I think it was.
Yes, it's 99 cents until the 26th. So I'm really
Yeah,
grateful for that. Thank you for everyone who joined, and thank you for having me.
absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.